This is Linda McClure Art, and I am Linda McClure. So today we are going to paint a real beginning watercolor tutorial, and we're going to paint a leaf. So let me see if I can show you the finished leaf. Here it is. Okay, so this is what we're going, oh, don't look at that. No, don't look at that. So this is what we're painting. And it turns out really nice. And it's really easy. So watercolor, don't believe what you hear. Watercolor is easy and even beginners can do it. And this is a very beginning watercolor tutorial. So enjoy. I'm going to create an outline of the leaf. You can even just put the leaf on your paper and draw the outline. So the first thing you do is, it's a real simple painting. I'm just going to take water and I'm going to put water through the entire leaf there. All right, now I'm going to look at my leaf and look at what the lightest color is. I'm going to avoid white until the very end. That's going to wash out everything. So I'm going to look and I see yellow, really. I'm going to cover my entire leaf with yellow. Okay, I'm going to dry off my brush and I'm looking, and the green moves darker to lighter. So I'm going to get my bright green here, and I'm looking that I have bright green up the center. Take the lines that are coming up from that center, take my bright green and just go right up the edges. I'm going to just go not quite to the edge there. Next step. I let it just dry for just a second. I'm switching to not my rigger, but still a smaller brush, and I'm going to just look at where the darker greens are here and pull those up. Now my leaf is still pretty wet. If it starts to get too dry, I might go back in with just water first, but I am keeping that center lightness open. What I'm paying attention to is the fact that this edge is the lightest, and so I'm still keeping a lightness there, and the center is light. This is my darkest area. So I'm gonna go back now with that same green, and I'm gonna add a little water to my brush, grab some green and put it right there. I think I might darken it. I'm gonna add a little bit darker now. So here we go. Just pulling from the center. Don't want it to go into that. And if it does go into that center, don't worry about it. You can go back and define that center when it dries. So I'm gonna go. So notice, this is the fun about watercolor. It's still damp. So I'm just going to use that water or the damp paper to do the painting for me, pulling darkness into the leaf. These areas here are going to blend in a little bit more in a second once I add some water, but I'm gonna give it a chance to dry. You know, here's the thing, it's like, it doesn't matter if it looks good or bad, just enjoy it. And put it in a sketchbook, and if you don't like it, don't show it to anybody, but it's all, I really, really believe that anybody can learn to paint and draw. It's all about seeing. Look inside here and see this dark part, okay? So I'm just gonna go back and I'm just gonna put a little bit of a dark part into my leaf right in here. I'm still working on this really, this darkest, it's pretty much one of the darkest areas, that and this area here. But I want it to blend, so that's why I'm kind of taking the dark green and I'm tapping it in right here. I always use the phrase tapping it in, and I guess what that means is that I'm just kind of using my brush and kind of letting the water do the work. So I'm just taking my paintbrush with just water on it right now, because all I'm doing is blending this into this lighter area of the leaf right here. Add more darkness to this mix here that I'm making. I'm just gonna tap right there. If you look at the leaf, can I get that in focus? Let's see, there we go. There is a real slight brown edge there. All right, I think I can start to blend this area here that is yellow on the right. And I'm doing that by just taking water and pushing into, I'm not taking the dark into the yellow, I'm taking the yellow and pushing into the dark so that it doesn't get too, I don't lose my lightened area there. Right around the dark edge here. Sometimes I just use a black pen, and that could be, it's a different look. It's not as watercolor, it's more illustrative. There we go. I added a little bit of water to it, and that definitely thinned out my line. Okay, and it does go. I mean, I'm looking at the leaf, and there actually is a slight brown around the edge. I mean, I'm not just outlining the leaf. Now I don't see the outline on this side, so I'm not going to add that in, but I am going to start to pull some brown down because even though it's really a dark green, I'm just using that brown as a shadow. I hope you can see this, my hand isn't blocking it. There, so I'm putting the brown on one side of my center there. I've let my leaf dry. I'm gonna actually take the white and I'm just gonna look at where those veins are, and I'm gonna, now this looks really bright right now. I'm gonna mix a little bit of yellow in with that. But white gets really translucent when it's used this way, so it won't dry this white. I'm also going to go back and put in some highlights on this. And I'm not going to put in quite as many veins as this leaf has. Just because it... And I'm not also going all the way to the tip because that's what I see. Again, you just paint what you see. The veins start in the same place, so they're parallel to each other. I'm noticing that. Okay, I'm going to go back with my white mixture, my white-yellow mixture, and I'm going to look for some highlights. I see highlights here. I'm going, now this is watered down. This is not the full mixture. So, because I'm going to really blend it in so you can't tell that this is just going to add light on top of the white on top of dark with watercolor does not stay white. It just lightens what's underneath. So you'll be able to see the color underneath right through it. And that's just, now if you wanted to add real sharp highlights, you could use gouache or ink, white ink on here, but I don't have any real sharp highlights in this reference. Take a look at your reference and notice that there's a shadow under here. So I'm gonna get it turned exactly the way it is on my page. I am going to look at the shadow under here. Now, shadow, normally I would just mix a little green with red. I didn't bring those colors, so let's just mix this bright red here with a little bit of the light green and see if I can get kind of a shadow color. It's not too bad, it's kind of brownish, but it's really going for gray, but tapped in a little bit of this darker brown in here and it's going gray. You know, I always keep a little bit of Payne's Gray sitting on my workbench. So I just mixed in white and Payne's gray here. And because I don't think the shadow looks good that color. So I am gonna make it its true color, which is more of a gray black. There we go. That's much better. It still has a little bit of that tint because it was underneath it, but that's all right. And I'm gonna bring it out. And again, darken, maybe get a little bit more dark here and just darken underneath.